So indirect costs, what are they? They are those costs that are incurred for common or joint objectives. And it's really hard to identify those costs with any particular activity or any particular project. We also know that indirect costs have been referred to historically as overhead and more recently as F&A, or facilities and administrative costs. So indirect costs, or facilities and administrative costs, they are reimbursements to us for our facilities and administrative costs that are associated with conducting research and other sponsored activities. Okay, ones that come readily to mind for me are sponsored programs administrative staff, such as myself. We are covered by indirect costs in our office. There might be department administrative staff or your chair or dean time that could be covered by administrative costs. There could be building, utility and maintenance fees. There might be equipment and equipment depreciation fees. And I know when I've been to presentations on indirect costs, people will say, do you like the lights on in your lab or in your office? Those are kind of things that we have to pay for up front as an institution to be able to engage in sponsored activities. So again, remember, indirect costs is a reimbursement to the institution. Diane, are there any others that come to mind for you that you would like to add?
Tricia, I always think of electricity, like you said, and being in Iowa and you being in Colorado, I think of like snow removal in the parking lot during the wintertime. Those are all, included in that. So yes.
Great. Or air conditioning in the summertime,
air conditioning
right?
in the summer, for sure.
It's
Yeah.
getting a little hot here already in Colorado.
Yeah.
So again, the important thing is that these are costs that your institution's already paid for. So the institution works out a negotiated rate in order to recover some of those costs. Okay, so what you see here is an example of an on-campus research rate for facilities and administrative costs. And I make a distinction between on-campus and research because rates may vary at a given institution depending upon if project activities are conducted primarily on campus or off campus, and if those project activities are related to research, related to instructional type of programs, or other sponsored research. And really it's just going to depend upon the negotiated indirect cost rate that your institution has. So what you're seeing here in the orange are the costs that go into the facilities, those averages for facilities. And then in the blue, you see the administrative rate. And in this example, you don't see that buildup, what all went into that administrative rate. And the reason why we don't show that is because typically for institutions of higher education, the administrative rate is capped at 26%. And it's been capped at 26% historically since F&A has been around. So it doesn't matter what the true cost of your administration is on your campus for sponsored research or sponsored programs. It will always be capped at 26% if you're at an institution of higher education, which means we are never fully recovering all of our true costs because for many of our institutions, that administrative rate, those true costs are above that 26%. You'll also notice when we start talking about on-campus versus off-campus rates, that the off-campus rates for most of us is going to be that administrative rate. That's because we're not using everything in the orange. We're not using the facilities portion. So historically, most institutions of higher education will have an off-campus rate that is capped at 26%.